Hello, welcome to the next interview series that I have. This is part of my Breakthrough Awakening series. And I have here an amazing guest named Rohit Juneja. He is a spiritual psychotherapist and a love coach and the author of Loving Soulfully. Welcome, David. Welcome, Rohit.
Hi Kundan, how are you?
Great. Um, I saw a previous interview that you did with Selma, and that's really what got me curious about doing this interview. And you talked about many different topics during that interview, but the one that really caught my eye or my ears was that you said the romantic love experience is really the awakening experience. And
Yeah.
and I want you to talk more about that and first of all like define for me in your own words like what the awakening experience means to you.
Hmm. The awakening experience actually that you're speaking about, and the level to which people have come with that, is an experience of being able to observe the world from a perspective other than that of your mind. So that's the starting point. The place of connecting with spirit, connecting with your soul, is an alternate perspective or an alternate reality from which we view the world and we view our own mind. And now we're able to actually talk back to it. We're able to actually redirect it, where we actually start to get control over, a kind of control over it, where we're able to stop it in its tracks. And that's the beginning of the awakening process. The awakening process then leads us further as we learn to steer the mind, direct it, and then we find ourselves more frequently in touch with this place of inner peace and joy, because that's what lies behind the curtain of the thoughts. In all our thoughts, that they're clouding the experience of this alternate reality, the spiritual reality that exists all around us. So the awakening into that spiritual reality occurs when the thoughts subside. And the process to get there is quite simple, but we can do that another time. It's usually using the breath or any other meditative practice. The outcome needs to be very clearly understood, that the thoughts subside and you enter into this alternate realm. Now, most people experience it for a few minutes. My claim is that you can be there as much as you like all the time as a part of day-to-day living. However, where love takes you is far deeper and far more intense and more beautiful than this practice itself. What the problem with the awakening process as we know it is that we're not able to stay there. We find ourselves going in and out. It's a passing thing. We feel ourselves for a moment in that connection of spirit, that lightness of being, that experience of joy and peace for no reason at all. But then we come right back, and it's frustrating. One of the things that love does is it takes us there naturally. Love is an opening of the heart that immediately transports us into this realm. The reason we like love so much and we are so addicted to the experience of love, particularly in its early stages, is because it is an experience of transcendence. That's what we're experiencing. We're experiencing the divine in those moments. We think it is a person, but actually, it's not a person. It is the divine that we are experiencing coming to us through that person and going through us to that person. And that's why it's so exhilarating, and that's why the world looks so beautiful, and that's why everything looks divine, because in fact, our eyes have opened up to this alternate reality. Now, we can stay there as long as we don't let our mind come into the picture. The moment our mind starts to come in, which usually happens around the time when we start claiming this person as ours, this whole big thing that we have around commitment is actually an attempt to call somebody mine. It's actually the mind stepping in. When the mind steps in, it starts to feel fearful because now it's experienced this beautiful thing, this wonderful person. It becomes fearful of losing this person. It wants to own and control this person. It wants this person to be with us all the time. And because of its fears and because of its attachment and because of all that it's now starting to spin us into, this web it's starting to create, we become fearful. We get wrapped up in its thoughts. We keep wondering all the time, where is this person? Where is this person? Why haven't they called me? What's going on? How come this happened? How come that happened? Why are they looking at this one? Why? And all of these things that start, and this is where the mind has kicked in. And now, to the degree that the mind kicks in, to that degree, the experience of transcendence diminishes. And we start experiencing pain and fear, and all kinds of negative emotions start creeping in. So, really, love is a spiritual practice, and it requires us to keep ourselves on a high vibrational platform wherein we keep our mind outside the door. Like Picasso actually said, when I go into paint, he says, I leave my mind outside my studio the way worshippers, when they enter into a mosque or a temple, they leave their shoes at the door. So, in the same way, he says, I leave my mind outside the studio. And in the same way, when we enter into the temple of love, we need to leave our minds outside, because to the degree that we bring that mind in, it will pollute our relationship. That is why I say it's a spiritual practice. It is an experience of transcendence. And it's a very ancient practice, which I will tell you more about as we go along. But for now, I'd like to just see if that's sort of clear, and if you have any further you want to ask around that.
Yeah, so it's like, in nonviolent communication, they teach you this concept of strategy versus needs,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a need, and there's more than one strategy to fulfill that need, and we often get stuck on the strategy rather than the need. And it sounds to me like what you're saying is, with the love experience, when we have that amazing transcendent awakening experience because of this person, we end up thinking that this is the only strategy, the only way to experience this
Yes.
kind of love. And then we get stuck on this person.
Right. We get
That
stuck on this person. We see this person as being the source of love, but this
right.
person isn't the source of love. That's the illusion. That's the mistake. That's how we get trapped. In my book, Loving Soulfully, I write about this quite extensively. And I'll just show you a picture of the cover. It's Loving Soulfully, the key to
Okay.
love that never hurts, never betrays, and never dies. So in here, I write about this. I said, love is God. Love is the universe experiencing itself, the beloved wooing itself, the divine communing with its essence through the hearts, eyes, and bodies of lovers. Love is God enjoying the unique melody of your beloveds, savoring their souls, relishing their beauty, arousing their passion, making love to them through you. Love is the source of all that is, adoring, worshipping, and making love to you through endless lovers across infinity. Behold love's delightful magnificence. And then I talk about this search for the one, and I write, love is the one. No one can be your one true love. No one can complete or fulfill you. No one can be the right one for you. The one you seek is the source of all, the one true love who will never forsake you, never hurt you, and never break your heart. So, what do I mean by this? It's a very deep philosophy, it's a very deep understanding. And I'll go into that to explain to you what I'm talking about. Because so far, here's the background. The background in the Western world is that most people were taught about religion, about a God who was through. They learned about God through a religion, and in that religion, they were told about an old man sitting in heaven who punishes people, sends them to hell, and so on and so forth. And they got so turned off by this idea of this person who is so vicious and hateful that he takes his own children and he roasts them alive for millions of years in hell. So people got so turned off by this idea that they either became atheists or they became spiritual. In spirituality, they found an alternate idea. And that alternate idea was the idea of the divine as an energy, as the universe, something benign, something that would not harm them. And people became very satisfied with that. Now, these ideas of the universe, of energy, and so on, are there in ancient texts in India going back thousands of years. They're not something new that has been discovered by the Western world. In the ancient Vedas, they talk about this very thing. They call it Advaita, non dual. Okay, so the idea that we come from the light and our ultimate goal is to evolve to the point where we then go back to the light. Um, they also speak about the divine coming from the light as beings or avatars who come at different times to bring their presence to this world so that we may experience them. And by this, I don't mean messengers, I don't mean sons of God, I mean the divine itself, that energy itself taking form and incarnating in form so that we may relate to it and have a connection with the divine, with a being, just as you love your lover in the same way, being able to relate to the divine as a being. Now, this takes its most ultimate form in the form of what is known as Krishna and Radha, the divine as masculine and feminine. And here we hear the most beautiful stories and tales of romance and love and relationship with the divine. And in all of these tales, we begin to discover something incredibly beautiful, the divine as someone who loves life, not as someone who punishes, but rather enjoys everything, who has got no attachment to good or evil, right or wrong, who's simply about being a lover in every aspect of being a lover, not just as a father child personality, but or someone as you see as higher than you or greater than you, but rather as someone who is at your level, who is intimate with you, who you can love as a child, who you can love as a lover, man, woman, or for that matter, as an animal or whatever. So that is the understanding of the divine as the beloved. This is what the Sufis talk about as well. This is what the bhakti people talk about in the Eastern world as well. So this philosophy has been lost to the world, really. No one's talking about it today. But this is what I mean when I say that the divine comes, so is the original beloved. Now, in the absence of such avatars and such incarnations coming to us, an alternate possibility arises, the divine coming to us through our lovers. In ancient India, they would worship a deity. They would call the divine to come into a particular form. Nowadays, people know Shiva, Parvati, Ganesh, so on and so forth. But they would have images of Radha and Krishna, the divine masculine and feminine, and call them, the divine, to come within these so that they may offer their prayers and their worship and their offerings and so on. But I take that one step further and I say, why can't we invite the divine to come into our lovers? And so I think, Kundan, at one point you were asking me, how can we actually actualize this into our experience and how can we make this something very real for ourselves? So one of the tips to start with that I'd like to give to our listeners is that when you're with your lover, firstly recognize that this lover is a conduit for the divine to come to you. Now this has very profound implications. The primary one of which is that if tomorrow this lover leaves you, love hasn't left you, the divine hasn't left you. It has chosen to change form. That instead of coming to you through this form, which you now love so dearly, it will come through another. And if and when that leaves, it will come through another. And sometimes it will come through your pets, and sometimes it will come through your friends, and sometimes love will come to you. I feel love as an energy, love as a presence will come to you through yourself, and sometimes as the wind, and sometimes as the sun. That love wants to love you all the time, wherever you are. And it's very important to get this because then you begin to experience an abundance of love. You start feeling love coming to you from everywhere, from everyone, from everything, not just from one primary lover. And this opens the door up to a huge expansion of the heart that allows you to feel soaked in love wherever you are. But let's talk about a spiritual practice. The first spiritual practice that I'd love to do is to take this experience that I'm talking about and begin to see everything as an expression of the divine energy. To begin to experience that the wind around you, the sunshine, the moon, the stars, everything is the divine coming to you through the elements, through the air, the sunshine, all of that, through your food, through everything, nourishing you, nurturing your body, nurturing your spirit through all of these natural elements and creations and foods and wonderful things and all the pleasures of your life. There's another word we have for that. We call that ras. It's written R-A-S-A, but it's pronounced R-U-S. Ras. Ras is the divine energy, divine pleasure energy, which is actually much deeper than the experience of the divine as peace. So when you have someone who goes into meditation, or dhyan as we call it, dhyan actually is meditational practice in which you experience the divine and as peace, as transcendence. Now that is just the beginning. Now the reason that is difficult is because you have all these different practices that you've got to do, from yoga to meditation and so on, and they are fairly dry. There is joy within them, but when our mind is not able to stick there, we go and do our mantra, we do our meditation, or we do our breathing, and our mind starts wandering. The reason for this is the mind goes towards pleasure and it seeks to avoid pain. That's the psychological understanding of this. So because many of these practices are difficult, particularly in the beginning, and we don't jump into our Buddhahood right away, we find that the mind keeps wanting to escape, and the process becomes very challenging and very difficult. That is why most meditators, most people who come to spirituality, aren't really experiencing the full benefits of being there. Now, if we use the other principle that the mind goes towards pleasure, we're now tapping into something very important. This ras energy that I'm speaking about, the pleasure energy, which is part of this rainbow, this energy that is within all things, this energy that we breathe, this energy that comes through the sunshine, that comes through all natural things, water, earth, water, fire, air, all the natural elements, all our foods, everything around us, it's coming to us. So that energy not only has the component of peace, it also has the component of joy, of love, of spontaneity, of eternality, of wisdom. It has many elements in its rainbow. It's what I refer to as the alternate reality. It exists within us and all around us. So simply learning to switch our minds into that alternate reality allows us to go there. But when we add the element of love into that, when we add the element of pleasure into that, we start experiencing the full rainbow, that pleasure component gets us hooked. It gets the mind hooked. Now the mind wants to keep going back. It's almost like an intoxication, but you're taking no drug. It's an intoxicant that gets your mind addicted to that divine energy. And because of that ras being so pleasurable, it just keeps wanting to go back there again and again and again. And this has nothing to do with any partner being with you. If the partner could be there, you'll get addicted to the partner. Remember that addiction is to not the person, but to the energy that that person is transmitting and that you are transmitting to them. So therein becomes a practice that can actually get you hooked into spirituality in a way that you could never have done before. This is number one. The second practice that can be very helpful is to be able to invite the divine into your lover and say, allow me to make love to you, allow me to kiss you, allow me to, massage you, to caress your hair, allow me to be of service to you through this person. To begin the practice of seeing your lover as the expression of the divine, and to keep on cultivating that practice, to keep on creating that intention and thereby that experience. And that will take you into a deeper and deeper relationship with your lover. This is the second. The third is really to get into what I call adoring, worshiping, and serenading your lover. This is a very profound practice. Adoration opens the heart. It is the key to opening the heart up to the divine and to your lover. It will keep you in a place. If you can keep that practice of adoration going, it will keep your heart wide open to love. And serenading, as in, the love songs people like to listen to, begin to understand that these are love songs for the divine. And sing them to your lover as an expression. And even if there's no lover, just sing them to the divine. And notice how much further your heart opens up. Sing them to the flowers around you. Sing them to the birds. Sing them to yourself. And serenade yourself and experience this deep love that is inside you. And finally, the last practice that I'd like to bring about is the practice of romancing yourself. because you too are an expression of that divine. So much as I want to point out this thing, the divine is, in the Vedas, they talk about three aspects: the divine in everything, that is called Brahman; the divine in everyone, that is called Paramatma, the soul or the great soul within everyone; and Bhagavan, the divine as a being, separate from it all. So all three aspects exist simultaneously. It's not an either or situation. It's all. You have an entire range to choose from at any given moment. Um, so being able to experience that divine love, that devotional feeling as worship, serenading, as just complete love at any time. And you know what? You can feel this love for anybody. I say to everyone, I fall in love wherever I go. Whoever I meet, I fall in love with them. It could be a dog, it could be another human being. Allow yourself to fall in love everywhere. And I know it's threatening and scary to people. You know what? It doesn't have to have a goal. It doesn't have to have an agenda. It doesn't have to be about sex. It just has to be about loving. And if all of us would just practice this and go around the world loving each other like this and falling in love with each other, looking into each other's eyes, dissolving into each other's embrace, not just hugging, but dissolving into each other's embrace, going deep within that, we would have so much of love all around us, and we wouldn't have so much of conflict. I think we'd have a much happier world.
Thank you so much for those four tools. They sound really amazing, especially the idea of just loving the environment, loving yourself, and seeing the divine in everyone and everything. One question that comes up for me is, what is the usefulness or the benefit of the awakening experience or the love experience? Like, how does it, for example, help you fulfill your goals in life, or how does it like benefit you in some way? Like, what is the point of this experience?
The point of this experience is the whole point of life.
Okay.
It is not a tool to achieve your goals. It is not a tool to get your needs met. It is not a tool to be safe, to be secure, to be any of that. It is a tool to die. Let me explain to you what I mean. When I say to die, means to die to your egoic self, to die to all that is false and artificial in your world, and to awaken to the reality of everything. The reality of everything is this: we have been searching for happiness everywhere. We have been searching for love everywhere. We have been looking for the ideal lover, the ideal situation. We keep doing all kinds of stuff for this. We keep buying things. We keep working hard. We keep trying to create families. We keep trying to find ideal lovers. And we keep finding ourselves returning back to point zero, which is alone, which is somehow unhappy, somehow not satisfied, not complete. When I say love is like death, I mean the real purpose of awakening to this divine love is to realize that all of these illusions that we've been living are a lie. That the reality lies in this spiritual energy. This happiness we've been looking for cannot be bought by any amount of money. Ask the multimillionaires of the world, they don't have it either. Ask the multimillionaires of the world, they don't have peace either. They don't have a true lasting love either. They can't tell you about abundant love. No, they can go out and purchase a lot of sex maybe, but they can't get abundant true love. That they can't get. And I can get it out of everything, out of the wind, out of the sun, out of the stars, out of the whole world. It's there. I'm like making love to life. That awakening is walking into an alternate reality. And in one sense, it is the death of this reality. You're no longer chasing after goals. You're no longer chasing after illusions. You're no longer caught up in the hype that this world is going to solve all your problems will be solved if you finally have all the things that you want. Now, once you step out of the illusion and you find the real treasure house within you, then the world becomes your playground. You're not using the world and your goals and your objectives to feel happy. It's not like when I have money, then I will be happy. When I have love, then I will feel fulfilled. No, that's an illusion. The truth is, feel love with or without anything. Feel happiness with or without anything. Find it right here, find it right now. And then go out and get the whole world if you want. But then the world is your plaything, it's your toy. This is your playground. You're no longer under the illusion that by getting what you want or having your desires met that you will be happy. Because your desires will not make you happy. Your desires will only spin your tail around and keep you running and running and running for the rest of your life. However, have desires. There's nothing wrong with desires. Just don't go into the illusion that they will give you that which they will not give you. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, that's a beautiful answer to the question. I agree totally. And it also occurred to me that when you fill yourself with love on your own,
Mm-hmm.
without trying to achieve a goal and trying to get your needs met, and just feel your desire, but not be attached to it,
Yes.
and you just allow love to flow through you, and the world becomes your playground. You also become this conduit, this channel, this vehicle for love to flow through you, and then you become this amazing contribution to humanity.
Yes.
And that is more fulfilling than getting your needs met.
Yeah. I mean, getting our needs met, I look at it like this. Most people with their ideas of getting needs met is similar to a child. A child, goes to its mom, its dad, because it can't it meet its own needs. So it needs someone to take care of its needs. And that's how we seem to be approaching love. We seem to be approaching love from a point of view of someone who can't meet their needs and now wants someone else to do it for them. The idea is, as an adult, we meet our own needs. And then if somebody comes along who would like to do that for us, why then it's definitely a pleasure. We invite them and allow them to do that. But it's not from a neediness, it's from a fullness. And yet at the same time enjoying someone taking care of us in that way, but from a place of fullness. Big difference. The energy is different. The experience is different. The same thing might be happening. The same thing might, let's say somebody's cooking you a meal, but it's not because you need them to cook you a meal. It's just that that's an act of love. And they're doing it because they feel, and then the next day if they don't do it, that's fine too. Whereas otherwise what happens is if you're going there for your needs to be met, then expectations are created. And expectations lead to upsets. And upsets lead to conflict. And so now, love just goes out the door. So if you want to keep it alive, be full and complete in yourself, be filled with love, and then come to each other to share that love. Right? And in which process you may also take care of each other's needs. There's nothing wrong in it. Just avoiding the traps. That's all.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And even if you have like requests or desires, you can like offer it as an invitation rather than a requirement. Right?
Yes, it's a request. Hey, I'd love for you to give me a massage.
Right.
Nothing wrong. And if the person is not in the mood, doesn't feel like it, is tired, you're not going to be hassled because it was only a request. If it happens, lovely. If it doesn't, okay, some other time.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So there's a sense of detachment. There's a sense of letting go, which allows you to stay in your own completeness at the same time. So.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, this has been an amazing talk. Thank you so much, Rohit, for.
I love your questions. I love your openness. I love your, amazing spirit that you have, Kundan. And it's such a pleasure to be here with you. I really enjoy your company. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah, it's a pleasure listening to you talk. I learned a lot myself just by listening to this interview.
You inspired me.
Thank you. And I hope our viewers would learn a lot as well. And if they want to know more about you or learn more about you, is there a website that they can go to? Or is there,
yes, my full name is Rohit Juneja, spelled ROHIT JUNEJA. So rohitjuneja.com. That's JUNEJA. Or they can go to lovingsoulfully.com, which will lead them to the page for my book, which is also on my website. If they're needing some help with their relationships, then I have a page for my therapy practice, which is ideserveamazing.com. All of these merge into my website. So if you didn't catch my name, you can use one of the alternate, lovingsoulfully.com or ideserveamazing.com.
Okay, awesome. And I love that name, ideserveamazing.com. Yeah.
I think we all do.
Yeah. It reminds me of this website called IamAwesome.com.
Isn't that yours?
No, it's
Okay.
somebody else's. And if you go to that link, it's a totally blank page with just only two words.
Uh-huh.
And the two words are, it's true.
It's true. Lovely.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. I hope you have an amazing rest of the evening.
Thank you. And I look forward to some more chats with you.
Okay.